Hey guys, so we're talking about the Jewish wedding and how it's an idiom for the rapture when Jesus comes back for us. Um, so basically, there's a parable that Jesus talks about, and it's called the Ten Virgins. We'll go over that at the end. So, what this starts with is it's called the ketubah. Ketubah is the covenant for the new marriage. It's the new covenant. It's like an engagement. It's like a marriage contract that they sign. Next comes the payment of the purchase price, and so the groom pays the bride's father the purchase price for the bride, and then the bride is sanctified and set apart. Okay, and from that point on, she's considered exclusively the groom's. Right, so then the bridegroom departs to his father's house. He prepares a room addition for the bride, um, so which takes some time. And then meanwhile, the bride prepares for his return. So it's not certain how long the bridegroom will be gone. It's deliberately set up that way, so she doesn't know when he's coming for her. Could be up to a year or so. So when he does return for her, there's often a gathering um, prepared for when he does return, and it's usually at night. So interesting, I thought. So the groom and the best man and the other male attendants, they leave the father's house and they set out in a torch lit procession um, to the home of the bride. Okay, and usually when this happens, the groom's arrival was preceded by a loud shout to forewarn the bride to be that she would be prepared for his coming. Okay, so we'll tie all this in together here in a minute. So it was common in the wedding party to have 10 lamps, 10 processional lamps, according to the Talmud. Okay, so 10 bridesmaids, 10 groomsmen. Um, so then, after the ceremony, the gathering, after the torchlit procession and all that, and he comes to get his bride, then it's the huppah, and that's the wedding. Um, and then after that, they're escorted to the bridal chamber. They consummate the marriage, and then after the marriage is consummated, then the groom comes out and announces to the members of the bridal party that it is, and then that leads to a 7 day marriage supper. All right, so um, the marriage supper in the Jewish wedding is 7 days, but during tribulation, our marriage supper will be 7 years. So after the 7 days, the bride will be unveiled. So she's veiled this entire time so nobody can see her face. And then after that, she'll be unveiled. Okay, excuse me. So I have some scriptures that we're going to go over that will tie all this in together. Okay, so so you've got the ketubah, the covenant, and for that is 1 Corinthians 11:25. All right, so for as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death till he comes. That's 26, sorry. In the same manner, he also took the cup after supper, saying, This is a cup of the new covenant in my blood. So do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. So that is the new covenant. So the ketubah, the new covenant, our covenant was with Christ by his blood, which was the purchase price. And next we have the purchase price. So 1 Corinthians 6:20. Okay, so for you were bought at a price, therefore glorify God in your body and your spirit, which are God's. All right, so sanctified and set apart. Um, and then the bridegroom departs to his father's house, John 14:2 through 3. Okay. So, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. So, um, like the groom goes to his father's house to prepare a room addition, okay, for the bride. That's exactly what Christ says here he does for us. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you, I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. Okay? He goes to prepare a place for us, just like the groom does, prepares the addition in his father's house. Just like the bride doesn't know how long he's going to be gone. We don't know how long Christ will be gone, and we don't know when he's coming back to get us. I think it's going to be pretty soon, to be honest with you, but we don't know, and I don't think he wants us to know. I think he wants us to recognize the season so we'll be prepared for the shout, okay, and his coming, but I don't think that he wants us to know when it is. All right, First Thessalonians 4:16 through 17. Okay. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with him in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. All right, so the groom, the processional, starts with a shout, a forewarning that that Christ is coming for us. Okay, the groom is coming for his bride, and so that's how that ties that all together. And then I'll go ahead and I don't think I have any more scriptures for the rest of these. Um, so we'll go ahead and go to Matthew 25 and we'll talk about um, the parable. I'll read it to you. Matthew 25, verse 1, the parable of the wise and the foolish virgins. Then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, Behold, the bridegroom is coming, so go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, No, lest there should not be enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch, therefore, you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. All right, so lots of interpretations on the parable of the 10 virgins, okay? So, what we have here, and I'll just give you a brief go over of it. So you got 10 virgins with 10 lamps. These lamps all revolve around this oil, which is olive oil, and that's what they burn it with. Okay, 5 were foolish, didn't have enough oil. 5 were prepared, and they had enough oil. Okay, so first off, the lamps are menorahs, probably menorahs, and the menorah is a light bearer. It's an oil fed lamp. So a menorah has 6 branches. Actually, it has 7 branches, but 6 branches are a reference or an idiom to man because we know the number of man is 6. Okay, that's man's number. And then we have 1 branch in the very center of the menorah, which is the vine, which is Christ. Okay, and it feeds the other ones. The vine in the middle feeds the other branches. So there's 7 branches total. 7 equals the number of completeness. Okay, so 7 is also the reference to the sevenfold spirits of the Holy Spirit. All right, so and then something interesting that I'll tell you is that the 7 branch menorah is a reference to Israel. It is actually the official symbol of Israel, not the the Star of David, that's the government's official symbol of Israel, but the menorah is actually the official symbol of Israel. It's the light bearer. Okay, so a seven-branch menorah is a reference symbol for Israel, even in the Bible. Seven lampstands, which seven menorahs equal the church. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Okay, so oil equals the Holy Spirit. All right, that's what we're looking at here. Oil equals the Holy Spirit in the Bible. So we know this because of the two olive trees in Zechariah's vision of the end time. Okay, the two olive trees in Zechariah's vision represent the two witnesses during tribulation. All right, the two sons of the Spirit. So, sons of oil. All right, I'll read that to you real quick. Zechariah 4:2. This is another place where I got confirmation because Zechariah 4:2 in this vision, his 8 visions are just they're end time visions. Zechariah, I just studied those in my personal Bible study. So, and the fact that they come up in this with my Isaiah Bible study was confirmation for me. Also, that I'm getting ready to get into chapter 49 of Isaiah, and when I started looking stuff up for the Jewish wedding, Levirate marriage, and the parable of the 10 virgins, guess what popped up as a reference? Isaiah 49:18. So, confirmation all over the place. All right, so second verse of Zechariah 4. And he said to me, "What do you see?" This is the angel talking to Zechariah after he had the vision. And he said, "So I am looking, and there is a excuse me. So I'm looking, and there is a lampstand of solid gold with a bowl on top of it, and the stand, and on the stand 7 lamps with 7 pipes to 7 lamps. 2 olive trees are by it, one on the right of the bowl and the other on its left. So I answered and spoke to the angel who talked with me, saying, what are these, my Lord?" So I got a picture here. I'll show you as a reference. So I don't think this is probably exactly right, but you see the 2 olive trees there with the menorah in the middle and then the bowl, and it's got pipes coming out of it. So basically, I don't think that's probably pictured right, because it says in Zechariah's vision, it says that the bowl was on top of the menorah. And the reason why the bowl sat on top or over the menorah was because it was gravity fed. Okay? And it was a spontaneous, continual, unlimited supply of oil or Holy Spirit, in no way dependent on human agency. No way dependent. It was gravity fed straight from the tree, straight from the source is where this oil was coming from, and that is a reference to the continual source, continuous, unlimited supply of Holy Spirit that the 2 witnesses have in the book of Revelation, okay, during tribulation. Anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because that is a clear reference to the oil that we're talking about in the parable of the 7 virgins. It is the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we got olive trees in Zechariah. The oil is connected to the source of the oil, which is Holy Spirit. All right. And then 7 pipes to each lamp. It depends on how you read the text on that, but a lot of people picture it with just 7 pipes, but if you actually read the text, the commentators that I listened to said that it's actually 7 pipes to each branch, which is 49 pipes altogether. Sorry, I'm having all kinds of problems with this, but and then another reference to oil, Zechariah 12:10, says that the Spirit will be poured out like oil. Okay. So we know that oil heals, takes away friction, smooths over, illuminates, lights, warms, polishes, adorns, like in perfume. So, all right, so we had 5 prepared and 5 not, 5 foolish. 5 is the number of grace. So what did the 5 have that the other 5 did not? Okay, Holy Spirit. They did not have the Holy Spirit. So 10, we're talking about the whole entire church. 5 had the Holy Spirit, 5 did not. So you could look at this as the church as a whole, all denominations, okay? entire church as a whole. So we could say literally half are following true doctrine and have the Holy Spirit, actually do have relationship with Christ and aren't in it for the wrong reasons. They actually have the Holy Spirit, relationship with Christ, and are saved. They're actually saved. The other five appear to have the Holy Spirit, because they go to church or whatever, but they're dead in the church. They don't have the Holy Spirit. Okay, so um, and then of course, this is rapture talk. We're talking about the rapture here, and that's scary because the other five, he closed the door on them. He said, I don't know you. That is scary. Okay, um, but I will say that if you're saved, you have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is in you if you're saved. There's no such thing as half saved. No such thing as being unborn after you're born again. I don't think you can ever be unborn after you're born. Okay, I don't believe that. I believe once you're saved, you're saved. And I have a story that I'll get at that. Um, that will kind of give us some uh, leadway on maybe why. Okay, so, and I got this from one of the commentators I listened to, and I like the story, so I hope that it helps you too. So, okay, so we know that in the story of when the three angels come to Abraham and tell him that they're going to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. So, actually, it was two angels and Jesus. Okay, so basically, what happens is Abraham starts pleading with him, and he says, after he feeds them and everything, and he says, Lord, if there are only 50 righteous in the city, and he starts, I can't remember what number he starts at, but anyway, at one point he says, if there's only 50 righteous in the city, will you save it? And Lord says, yes, I'll save it. He gets down to 10. Okay, he keeps going through all these numbers and he's pushing his luck, and so he gets down to 10 and he says, Lord, if there's only 10 righteous in the city, will you save it? And the Lord said, yes, I'll save it. So apparently, what is going on here is that Abraham knows that Lot lives there, and Lot is Abraham's nephew, so he knows that Abraham lives here. So technically, what he's getting at is that he doesn't want him to destroy the city because he knows Lot's there. So God has already sent the angels to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy it, but he tells them you can't destroy it until you get Lot out. So they're kind of pushing Lot out and to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's what Abraham was getting at. So here's the thing. Here's the kicker. So Peter tells us that Lot was a righteous man. He says in one of his scriptures that he says, Lot, that righteous man. So what that tells us is that Lot was saved. He was righteous. Okay. So which means God wouldn't destroy the city until Lot was gone. So that was one person. Lot was saved, and he would not destroy the city until Lot and his family got out of there. So basically, it didn't go down to just 10. It might have went down to just one, because Peter tells us that Lot was saved. He was righteous. So here's the thing: if Lot was righteous, where did Lot live? A very unrighteous place. Okay, Sodom and Gomorrah was so bad. And it was so filled with sin that God would basically destroy it by fire. I mean, it was bad, okay? It was so bad that the homosexuals came out to get the angels that went to save Lot and his family, and they were going to rape them. That's how bad the city was, okay? They were there for a hot second looking for Lot and his family so they could save him before they destroyed the city, and the homosexuals were already after him, wanting to rape him. Okay, terrible. So, anywho, some theologians look at this, and I kind of like the story. I want to believe this too. So some theologians see this as that Lot was saved, but he wasn't necessarily walking in fellowship with God at the time. Okay. I hope that gives you some hope. That gave me some hope. not for myself, because I know for myself that I am saved, but I do have people in my family. I know people that I am pretty sure are saved, but don't necessarily walk a Christian walk. They live their lives, and I know that they love God, they talk to God, but they don't necessarily live that way. So, and we're none of us are perfect, but um, so anywho, I just wanted to stick that in there because I really like the idea of that, and you can take it for what it's worth. But anyway, that was me summing up lot at the end, but me summing up how the Jewish wedding, Levirate marriage, um, pertains is an idiom for the rapture. So they'll go through a marriage feast. They go through a marriage feast when they get married for 7 days after the wedding, and we will go through 7 years of marriage feast with Christ while the whole world is going through tribulation for 7 years. Okay. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you, and I'll see you for chapter 49 of Isaiah soon. Have a blessed day.